Hey, welcome back to the Fit Survive channel. So what we have here today is another first aid kit that I put together. And so I used the Onetigris first aid pouch. And so this is going to be a much smaller, more compact first aid kit. As you see here, this is about 8 inches long, about 5 inches wide, and about 3 inches thick. And so not a whole lot of space here for putting together a very large first aid kit. And some of you may critique the items that I chose to put in here and that I maybe didn't choose to put in here. But again, keep in mind, as I'm going through what I have put in here, that this is supposed to be a small pouch, something that, like, if I'm going hiking, if I'm going bicycling, I can easily attach this to my belt. So in the back here, you have a MOLLE system. And so if you set it up like I did here, where I skipped the first loop, see that right here, then this can easily be attached to a standard belt or can be attached to a tactical belt. And of course, being the MOLLE system, if you wanted to, you could attach this to your backpack. But the point is like if I'm going on a hike, like a day hike, and I don't want to carry a big, huge first aid kit on my belt simply because it's extra weight, it's pulling on my pants. This right here, with what's in it, it's very lightweight. And so it can easily be carried without causing a whole bunch of issues. All right, so first about the bag, it is a 500D Cordura. And so kind of what you'd expect from a tactical style bag. And it does have a rip away system. Okay, not actually rip away, it's more like a rip open, because once it's attached to your belt, it's not meant to be ripped off your belt like some first aid bags can. But basically what you would do is pulling the red cord here, you pull it open, and then your whole bag comes open and available. And theoretically, the point is that you can access all of your stuff. So if you have this on your belt, instead of ripping it off your belt, you could rip it open, and then this would be hanging. And with all these loops you see down below, that should keep all of your medical equipment in place as you're reaching and accessing what you need to treat whatever has happened. All right, so it definitely creates a really interesting kind of like a layout here with that system, how it pulls open. This rip open section is actually really narrow. And so you're kind of limited on what you can fit in here, simply because of it being so narrow. But again, keep in mind, this is we're trying to keep this first aid kit really compact, something that you can easily carry on your person. All right, so let's go ahead and I will start going through and showing you what I've put in this kit and kind of explaining why I chose what I chose. So we'll start from left to right. And so we have some simple here shears. We need to cut through, whether it be clothes, jeans, or maybe through some kind of bandages. This is actually a tongue depressor is what it is. But I like this, I like carrying these in my first aid kits, basically for making like finger splints. If somebody's jammed a finger, broken a finger, this can easily be cut to size and then just wrapped up that way to keep the finger immobile. So I enjoy carrying those in my kits. All right, some simple little tweezers. Then we have some self-adhesive wrap here. And this is one of my favorite things as far as for like if you have to attach some gauze or whatever. This is always nice because instead of tape, which if you've noticed my arms are hairy, whenever you use tape on any hairy part of your body, it's like torture ripping it back off. And so I enjoy using this simply because it's easy to apply. If you need to take it off, you can basically re-stick it to itself, like, I'm not gonna say forever, but basically it can be reused if you need to open a bandage and reclose it and not have to go for more tape per se. All right, and here towards the back, I have Quick Clots. It's a clotting sponge. And I've opened this before when I showed my previous trauma kit, which I carry in my car. And so I'll show you that. That way I don't have to open up a new package. But basically what you'll find inside is just this like mesh bag. And it's got what looks to me like cat litter, but some kind of little beads in there. And that's supposed to do some really quick clotting work. So if you have a major bleed, you'd apply this with some pressure, kind of get the blood to stop. And then you could bandage it into place using some gauze, or once again, a self-adhesive wrap. And so that is the Quick Clotting sponge here. All right, the next thing in the back is also for major bleeds. This is an Israeli bandage. And so if you haven't seen this before, I've demonstrated this on my previous video. And so again, I have a demonstration of basically what you'll find inside. So you have this really large absorbent pad right here, which naturally you would put next to the bleeding wound. And then you have a really long, like a fabric material here. I'm not going to roll it. Like I said, I've demonstrated this before. But basically what you do is you would apply this to the wound. And when you get to the end, you're able to wrap this through this plastic thing right here. And what you do is you can tighten it down. And so to a certain degree, this actually works almost like a tourniquet. Now, do notice that is in bold letters, almost like a tourniquet. And so if you needed to actually, basically what it does, to be more correct, is it's not as much a tourniquet, but it applies pressure to the wound by itself. And so that's the Israeli bandage. They come in this kind of like vacuum pack. So it keeps them fairly compact here. And you have some simple instructions on the back of that. And again, some people may critique what I chose to put into my kit. This I've set up with the thought of going out into nature for a hike, for a bicycle ride, something like that. And so I'm not going to be expecting like an active shooter. And so you're not going to find any like chest seals or even a tourniquet, even though you could easily add a tourniquet right here on these side pouches. That's kind of the intent they had in mind, was to use these pouches for like a tourniquet or also for larger shears. And then what you could do is up top, it has this elastic strap, which you could run through the handle of your shears to make sure they don't fall out of this mesh bag here. All right, so here what I have is an emergency blanket. This is basically Mylar. It looks almost like tin foil. It reflects the heat back to you. So this can be used for any kind of hypothermic issues, but also for in case of like if somebody's in shock, you can use this as a blanket. And so it doesn't take up much space, and so I enjoy also putting that into my kits. All right, a non-adherent pad, and so this is going to be something you could put on a wound, and once again use the self-adhering wrap to apply that. All right, next up here, this is second skin. This is a burn pad. So if you are going to be out in nature, there's a good chance of getting burned while starting a fire or with a campfire or whatever. So I'm going to open this up since I don't have a demonstration of it, naturally, because it dries out over time. But basically, it's almost like a gel, but it's a, basically you can apply this. What you do is you would peel off the blue part, just like that. All right, you'll notice this is, like I said, it's like really like a gel. And so it keeps the burn nice and moist, and it kind of stops the burning sensation because it's nice and cool, and it helps. I've used these several times on burns, and I really do recommend these. If you carry these in an emergency kit, trauma kit, or even at home, yeah, really nice. It's kind of sticky also, and so once you apply it to your skin, you can actually even leave it there without wrapping it. You'll notice that it sticks really well. But you're going to want to wrap it on to make sure that it doesn't get dirty or whatever. It doesn't come rubbed off. So anyways, that is the second skin. I'll go ahead and this is ripped. I'll leave this here so we can keep in mind what I have in the bag. All right, then I'm going to pull these out like this. We have some steri strips. And so I'm sure you've probably heard of steri strips before. It's basically kind of like a replacement for stitches. So if you need a wound, if it's open, you need to pull it shut. You can use steri strips to do that, and then apply either Band-Aids, or depending on the bleed, you can apply something larger. All right, another absorbency, basically this is another pad for applying onto a wound. All right, and this is Tegaderm, and so this is kind of like second skin, but instead of like a burn pad, this is more for if you have like abrasions. So if you were on a bicycle trip and you fell and you got like a road burn or whatever, or basically any kind of abrasions. This is always nice. At least that's what I carry it for. I know a lot of people use this for other reasons, but it's literally like skin thin. And so it's really nice to also apply this to a wound. And so the advantage of this is you can see, since this right here is transparent, you can see your wound, make sure you're lining it up just right, get it where you want. And then once you get it where you want, you can apply it. And then you'd peel off this top section, which that didn't turn out too well. The paper ripped on me. All right, so basically like that. Maybe you've seen this before whenever people get like IVs, they'll use this also on top of the IV. Like I said, I like using that for some not deep cuts, something that's not gonna bleed, but it's more just like an annoying burn sensation. I'll also leave this right here, even though it's now empty. All right. Then what I have is an assortment of different Band-Aids from larger. I really like the Curid. These Band-Aids, they're really nice. They're fabric. They're super sticky. They don't come off. And they come in some really wacky colors, but I like the shapes. You can see through it without me opening it. I like the shapes that they come in. They're really convenient to keep them on. All right, and then we have some other Band-Aids, large and some smaller ones. Yeah, Band-Aids are always coming in handy. All right, and then right here towards the bottom, as always, I always use these little compact talent tabs here, and I've probably demonstrated this already a dozen times, but I'll show you again. Basically what you can do is you can either take them apart and they're dry, or if you need like a wet wipe, you can get them wet, you pull them apart, and of course the more water you use, the wetter the wipe's gonna be, naturally, right? So basically, you open this up and you have a wet wipe. If, for cleaning or whatever else, that comes in handy. And so yeah, I carry these in literally all of my EDC pouches, just about everywhere I have gear, I carry those. All right, and over on the right, I have 4 pairs of gloves. And I do prefer using light colored gloves, like a light blue, simply because the light blue shows blood or whatever else on it a lot better than the black does. But unfortunately, this is all that I had right now when I was putting together this kit. All right, and why I chose 4 is because it'd be 2 for me and maybe 2 for somebody helping me. And so that's why I usually I carry more than just a pair of them. All right, and then over here, this is a Sam Splint. And this is basically, it's a soft splint that you can unroll. Well, I say soft because you can roll it up and unroll it. But basically it has some, I guess it's aluminum inside of there. And what you would do is you can then shape this. If, for example, you had an arm that was broken or cracked or whatever, or you need to immobilize it, what you would do is you would bend this and you'd shape it to the arm. And then you could use either the self-adhesive bandage or you could use gauze to actually keep it in place. Basically, wherever you needed to put it, use it like that. I've seen some people who also carry this and they use it like a neck brace. I don't know how comfortable that would be. But anyways, that is one of the ways that people have used this. And I've also, this actually is just half of the Sam Splint. I cut it in half because I need it to be a bit smaller. And so they do come larger than that. All right, so that is everything for the top section of our medical kit. And so then down below, what we have here. And now this right here are items that I want to be able to easily access as soon as you pull the bag open. So I try to choose some items, for example, like aspirin. If somebody's having heart pain, there's a thing of aspirin right there. All right, then I have some wet wipe. Basically they're antibacterial wet wipes. Again, for cleaning a wound, but also since it has basically the antibacterial properties, it also will do well for kind of disinfecting. All right, then here we have some Benadryl. That's for allergies. And this green thing, I'll go open this up and show you that. This is called Sting Kill. And this works great like for any kind of bee stings, wasp stings, anything that stings, you can use this. It's a little glass vial inside there. What you do is you pinch it, and then when you pinch it, it breaks, and then it basically soaks this little, I guess it's a gauze or some kind of on the tip there. And what you do is then you would just rub it onto the sting area. And I've used these before, and they literally work wonders. So once again, with being out in nature, that is actually something that you can really expect coming in quite handy. All right, then I have some burn gel in the back. Okay, that's kind of a no-brainer. You'd use that for burns. So we can apply to it. All right, and this is also basically just some bandage. But the thing I like about this gauze is that it is also self-adhering. And so I've opened this before. I don't open this one to make sure to keep it clean. But basically, this gauze, when you unwrap it, and then when you re-wrap it onto somebody's wound, it actually sticks to itself really well. And so you could actually, if you didn't need like pressure or anything, you could actually use this without any kind of tape, without having to try to tie it. And so I like that it does that, how it sticks back to itself. It's a bit nicer in my opinion. And so I always try to carry these in my medical kits or trauma kits. All right, then we have some Neosporin. Again, kind of obvious. This is antibacterial cream, antibiotic cream, should I say? Properly, probably. Again, just applying to a wound to make sure that you're not going to have any problems with that. These are just some simple eye drops for rinsing things out of your eye, not medicated, just basically a simple, I guess you'd call it a saline solution for rinsing out your eyes. That's something that actually has come in handy a couple of times. This is Wound Seal. It's a topical powder for bleeds. And so basically what you do is, if you have something that's bleeding a lot, you can actually put this powder in there. And it's supposed to, per se, cauterize it, just to kind of stop the bleed. It's probably going to burn terribly, but at least it should do what it's supposed to do. I then have a couple of safety pins. And so if you need to do like a sling or anything else, these are really good for improvising. So you can get that set up. If you need to, if you have a broken arm, whatever. Right, then several painkillers here. Again, one of the commonly requested items from my first aid kits. And then lastly, what I've added here is a small little flashlight from Ravivon. And if I'm not mistaken, this is their A8X. And so a lot of times you're gonna have some kind of accident happens. Maybe someone's gonna fall or whatever, but it's gonna happen in the dark. It's gonna happen at night or close to night. And so basically you can use this, and of course you're gonna use it for the light. The nice thing is that you can apply this to your cap if you need. So if your hands are busy, if you have a cap on, you can apply it to your cap. If you don't have a cap, the side here has some little LEDs. And so it has, this is not gonna be visible, it's a UV light, it has a red light, it has a red flashing light, which once again, if you have some kind of accident, let's say you're on the road and you don't want to be run over, basically you can set this up somewhere to kind of get attention so people are able to see you. But then also it has an LED light right here. And so if you attach this, if you didn't have a cap on, you could attach this to your body, to your shirt somewhere, and just to provide you a bit of light as you work. And once again, with it being just such a small little flashlight here, it's really easy to carry in a pouch like this. All right, so that is all that I added to this little first aid kit. And so let me know what you think about what I chose to place in here. Like I said, I imagine there'd be several people who are gonna not be too pleased because I don't have, what you think is necessary. But go ahead and let me know in the comments what you would add to a kit. Again, keep in mind, something that you could take out into the wild, not an urban first aid kit. But anyways, let me know what you would add to this, what you think about it. And let me know what you think about this bag here from Onetigris. This bag costs $30 on Amazon. And so not a bad price. It's fairly cheap. And like I said, it's really compact, easy to carry, either on your belt or attached to a backpack, inside your backpack. And so let me know what you think about that. And be sure to check it out. I'll include links to everything or most of everything that I have in this first aid kit. And thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.